Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to give everybody a minute or two just to sort of join here and get their audio up and running. But as you enter, I just want to welcome you here. This is a special Better Lesson Live edition because we're joined by our partner at Kikori, which is going to bring you really an expert from the field of social emotional learning to make this even better. The title, as you can see there, Building Strong Classroom Communities, Strategies for the New School Year. And as you sort of enter the room, feel free to write into the chat where you're joining us from today and what your current role is, and also what brings you here today. This can just sort of get a little bit of a chat going with the other attendees. Maybe you'll see somebody from your school or district. Sometimes that happens. And in addition, if there's any questions that come up during the webinar, during the presentation, feel free to put those either in the webinar chat, or you could put them in the question and answer tab at the bottom of your screen. And we'll do our best to try to answer these in real time. But if Kendra's really going off on a little stretch, we'll make sure to address them at the end. And the most frequently asked question is, will these resources and the recording be shared? And yes, anything we talk about in the presentation will be shared as a resource later in the week via email, as will the recording. So today's goal is really to understand how experiential SEL practices can increase student engagement, cooperation, academic performance, as well as helping you to discover some actual strategies that you can begin integrating some of these practices into your curriculum and classroom routines on a daily basis, starting on day one, which for many of us is coming up very quickly here. So if you haven't joined a webinar with BetterLesson, or if you aren't familiar with us, just a real quick overview. So we partner with education organizations nationwide to really reimagine professional development. We actually consider it professional learning because we feel like it really needs to be an ongoing process. And we try to build teacher and leader capacity with the ultimate goal of improving outcomes for all students. And we do this in a number of ways, as you can see in this beautiful graphic. BL Connect is our asynchronous courses, so people can learn on their own time. We also have workshops, which are either in person or online. Coaching, which is done virtually, and then learning walks is really the data to kind of tie it all back together to make sure that your professional learning is giving you the ROI that you're looking for. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for adding where you're from in the chat and your role. So for introductions, my name's Nikki Alvarez. I will just be the moderator today. I'll be checking the chat to see if anything's going on in there. I'm the BetterLesson content marketing manager and a former educator. The main presenter today is going to be Kendra Bostic. Really is hard to kind of narrow down her expertise into a couple bullet points, but these are sort of some of the main credentials that she carries to show that she's really an expert on this topic. She's Kikori co-founder and current CEO, former social worker in Chicago schools, and a current doctoral candidate. So very full plate for Kendra. And I will actually pass it on to her now so she can introduce our other guests joining us from Lower Yukon School District. So Kendra, all you.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us, Nikki, and for, the awesome collaboration that we have with BetterLesson. And I am thrilled and honored to introduce you to our guest from Lower Yukon School District in Alaska. We work together with the Lower Yukon School District during their summer school program. And through that, we met Lisa Rivilo. Perfect. Perfect. Her title is District Director of Distance Learning and Logistics. But as I have spoken with her previously, she wears many hats. She ran the entire social emotional learning program for her district. She is a 30-year educator and was previously the Alaska Distinguished Principal of the Year in 2017. And she has just amazing relationships with the 10 schools that are part of the Lower Yukon School District. I'm also excited to introduce you to Dr. Menard Avenojar and Joan Avenojar. They are second grade and third grade teachers at Pilot Station School. And over this summer school program, they were incredibly engaged. We saw their students just having amazing attendance, and they really brought the idea of experiential social emotional learning into every facet of their classroom, which you'll see in the results of our working together with them. So welcome, and thank you guys for being here. What is Kikori? So for those who don't know Kikori, we are an experiential social emotional learning approach that really makes it easy and joyful for educators to cultivate the ideal classroom environment for learning and transformation. We do that through a platform of over 2,000 activities from a number of amazing experiential education leaders in the educational field, and we curate those activities into calendars, so social emotional learning calendars, as well as core curriculum, which I will dive into today. Also wanted to touch on this idea of experiential social emotional learning. So a lot of us have heard of social emotional learning. That is the CASTLE approach that really helps educators think about helping their students build skills in 5 different areas. So that's helping our students build self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, understanding others in the classroom, practicing empathy, relationship building, collaboration, and then really using all of those to practice responsible decision making. At Kikori, we add on the experiential learning, which is, you can see here through this framework. It follows a process of the experiential learning cycle in which we build in play and intentional reflection. And some of you shared why you're here today. I think that it's always a good idea to start with, what's happening in the country. We've had a lot of different needs that have happened over the last 20 years. And right now in the United States, students really need a sense of belonging and community more than ever. As you can see, the statistics on the screen show from little ones all the way up to high schoolers. Right now, 1 out of 6 youth are being diagnosed with mental health disorders. Within our adolescents, we're seeing over 2 million adolescents dealing with depression and anxiety. Once they get to the high school age, there are over 1 million students who are dropping out annually. Social media and screens, as well as COVID, are all contributing to these numbers. I think one of the numbers that's hardest for me to see is that 1 out of every 2 students by the time they get to high school don't feel like they belong in the place where they spend the majority of their day. And so the need to build community, to build in practices that really help our students feel like school is a place for them is more critical than ever. The other stat that I sometimes share is this isn't just students. 90% of our educators feel like burnout is a major issue. And so our goal today is really to talk about how we can shift from reacting to the mental health needs, to the behavioral needs, to our students shutting down, to prevention, both within our schools. So starting with an kind of a wider lens, looking at our schools. There are different practices that we can build in at the school level. So this is thinking about intentional school-wide morning meeting, advisory, circle time, as well as school-wide celebrations. On the staff side, it's really important to think about staff experiential social emotional learning and community building amongst the staff themselves. That was something that we did within our summer program virtually. So it's totally possible no matter where you are, how you are, as well as play-based family engagement events. And then zooming into the classroom, within the classroom, every single day, every hour, there are opportunities to build in time to help our students build a sense of community. So this just shows you the schedule of a day, being able to start the day with morning meeting. And I'd love to actually see from folks who are here, can we do reactions, Nikki, in the chat? Is it possible to just give a thumbs up I'd love to see if you have built-in time in your schedule at the school where you work in for morning meeting? Is there a way to give a thumbs up or just share, yes, we have allotted time for morning meeting in our school?
I'm actually not sure. I'm trying to see. I don't know if it's like a traditional Zoom meeting where people can do that, but people exactly. Okay, Kendra has the right idea. She's putting a thumbs up in the chat.
Perfect. So I'm just curious how many people who are here have time allotted, or maybe you can just share, yes, we have time, or no, we don't have time for morning meeting. Yes, love to see that. We do not. Okay. So there are some, so I know this is one of the components that schools are beginning to build in is a period of time for that morning meeting. There are also throughout the day times you can build in brain breaks where you can build in a sense of community. During cafeteria time, mix it up events. During recess, there's obviously lots of time where we can build community, as well as building in time for outdoors, connecting with nature, closing circle at the end of the day. These activities can also be woven into core subjects, and through those classroom celebrations. And today, what we are going to do is zoom into specifically that morning meeting time and actually get to experience a morning meeting ourselves, and thinking about going back to school, as well as building in some of the research practices, and examples from Lower Yukon School District, for each of these parts of the day. So starting with a morning message. So a morning message is really a daily note to students to welcome them in. One of the practices that we build into every Kikori morning message is a connection to a national day, national or international day. In this way, we're able to bring in history and STEM and nature and the world around us. So today, we'd love to say, good morning, school leaders. We are thrilled to welcome you to today's webinar, Building Community in the Classroom from Day One. As we gather to explore effective strategies for fostering a sense of belonging and connection among students, we're excited to share practical tools, neuroscience and research, and examples from an amazing school district in Alaska that will help you create an inclusive and engaging classroom environment from the very first day. Fun fact. So did you know it just so happens today is National Hot Fudge Sundae Day? So just as I'm sure Menard and Joan, you remember every day, I'm sure, being excited to see what was the fun day. But just as a hot fudge sundae combines various ingredients to create something delightful, building a strong classroom community involves blending diverse elements as well. So each ingredient in a sundae can be nice on its own, milk, sugar, but when we combine them in the right way, we create the magic of a hot fudge sundae. In the same way, we have many different elements of a classroom. When we're intentional with the activities we lead with our students and the way we spend our time, we can create a vibrant and dynamic learning environment where every student thrives. So this is our morning message to start off our session today. And we're moving into our sharing. So within a morning meeting, our morning meeting aligns with the responsive classrooms framework. We start with a morning message, and then we move into a sharing activity. So today's sharing activity is an ice cream check-in, and we welcome you all to participate, challenge by choice in a way that works for you. So next slide. So for our ice cream check-in, we welcome you to choose an ice cream flavor that represents how you feel about back to school. And Menard, Joan, Lisa, oops, so go back one screen. Yep, perfect. I welcome you to play along. And we've been doing the ice cream check-on on my team in Kikori the last week, so this is perfect. But I'd like you to choose what ice cream flavor represents how you feel about back to school. Perfect. And if anyone wants to add your why, challenge by choice, but why? Why this flavor? Mint. I love chunky monkey. I'm so curious. Sweet sherbet. That sounds wonderful. Chocolate chip. Thank you, Lisa. Neapolitan mixed emotions. Excited, but hard to leave summer behind. Bubblegum. Every chew is a new burst of excitement. Ooh, we've got some wonderful flavors. Ooh, Halo Halo. Love to learn more about that. Wedding cake. It's pretty in the beginning, so being realistic. Candria. Perfect. Wonderful. So I thank you for taking a moment to practice this metaphor of thinking about the school year and how does it connect to an ice cream flavor. Butter pecan, love the crunch. Getaway time. Perfect. So now I want to jump into why it's important. So I hope that you experienced a little bit of joy thinking about the why, and experience that creativity and connecting back to school and your feelings with an ice cream flavor. On my team, like I mentioned, we've had a lot of fun with these different ice cream flavors throughout the week, and thinking about one of my teammates, she wanted to start the week with vanilla. The week before had all these flavors smashed together, and she wanted to start off clean and fresh. We also incorporated, mint chocolate chip, for like classic, like let's get this going, as well as coffee was a really popular ice cream flavor on my team this week. So why? Why start the morning if students are entering with a joyful morning meeting and sharing activity? And the reason why is that when students don't feel safe and connected, they aren't able to learn. So this is really the core of, my experience as a school social worker was the understanding that when my students didn't feel connected to others in the classroom, when they felt, really when they didn't feel safe, when they didn't have a buddy, for example, this elicited fight or flight within them. And when students feel fight or flight, they are not able to access the thinking part of their brain, that frontal lobe. And so by building in every single day a consistent routine where they know what's happening, they know what they're coming into, and specifically a morning message and a sharing where every single student is able to think of an answer, share an answer with another person, be validated that their answer matters. This really sets them on a good course for the day, and really helps open their mind and show them, yes, they have ideas. Yes, they are welcome here. The reason why this is particularly important has to do with brain science and our neural pathways. So next slide. So every single day, every part of our day, every, interaction that we have has the opportunity for our brains to either create negative pathways or positive pathways. So if a student comes in and they immediately feel like they aren't good enough, this isn't a safe place for them, then their brain will create pathways that trigger fight or flight to protect them more often. The opposite is also true. So every single day, if we create an opportunity for students to feel joy, for them to feel happy, for them to connect with those around them, we're able to create positive associations. And I think this is something that we really saw at Lower Yukon School District this summer. And thinking of those summer school students who a lot of times, sit in math and are reminded every day, this isn't a place for me. I'm not accepted here. I'm not good at this. Which creates that fight or flight, either shutting down or reacting negatively. By building in this time every day, we're able to create these positive associations where they see their teachers as someone they can trust. They see school as a place that's fun. They see sharing as a place where they have something to contribute that can then, of course, be brought into the rest of the school day. And so the idea with this neuroplasticity, which is, I think they say our neuroplasticity really lasts all through our lives. But it's this idea that every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, whether that is positive, whether that is negative, fear, sadness, I'm not good enough, or positive, I can do this. I have something to contribute. People like me. We strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. So, say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion, we start carving out a new road. If we keep traveling that road, our brains use that pathway more. And so, this is, I think, one of the most important reasons why building in joy, positivity, laughter into our classrooms, is really important. So, thank you for, running through that neuroscience with me. And I'd love now for Minara, Joan, Lisa, for you to share just a little bit about your experience in leading the morning messages and greetings during summer school and some of the impact that you saw in these activities on your students.
Do you want me to jump in? Or do you want to go, Joan, first?
Okay, Miss Lisa.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I am John Abinohar from Lower Yukon School District. So I am teaching at Pilot Station School. So why start the morning with a joyful morning message? In rural Alaska, just like in Pilot Station where we are teaching, many students come to school feeling sleepy and not very excited. So starting the day with a happy message and an activity to share is important because it can make students feel better, bring everyone together, and help them start the day on a positive note. So this is especially helpful in creating a fun and supportive environment.
I'll jump in with that too. And just say that I think when we talk about building that positive and negative ratio that is so important for our students, this has become a really natural way because it's built into the school day to get that part of that 5-to-1 ratio interactions with students, and with how we greet kids in the morning and that we're interacting, and you'll see on some of these photos just the smiles that kids are having. And so building that neural plasticity in the brain help kids be more receptive to learning later in the day when we got down to business with some reading and writing and math. And one of the things that Joan mentioned is that our kids come in sleepy because we live in the land of the midnight sun where the sun does not set. So our students stay up until most often past midnight. And then we're trying to get them to come into school in the morning for summer school, especially. And it's challenging to get them there. But having these morning meetings and having that structure was really an exciting way for the kids to start their day. And while reluctant in the beginning, by the end, they were wanting to come to school. They didn't want to miss the morning meeting. And we got kids to school on time. And so we were really excited about that this summer.
Hello, hi everyone. In addition with that morning meeting, it sets a positive tone for the day. It encourages connection and communication, providing a platform for students to express themselves. Okay, an example of that, we did what's that during Energizer, right?
Yeah, everybody's eat.
Everybody's it, yeah. All students start as it. They will attempt to tag their classmates, and if tagged, they must sit down like that. And then, like playing this enhances awareness of one's surroundings. It also promotes a sense of community by ensuring equal participation and encourages inclusive play and teamwork. That's what we did.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And I just wanted to jumping off. I remember, Lisa, that was your one goal for summer school was how can we get them there in the morning? And so I know that attendance is a huge issue in schools across the country. And so it was create an opportunity, create an event that students don't want to miss, that they want to be there for, where they feel really good. So wonderful. All right. So the next step in our morning meeting is a greeting. And so a greeting is a friendly welcome exchange. Within Kikori, we have over 60 different greetings that they get to practice throughout the year. And today we are going to do a multilingual greeting on our, So for our multilingual greeting, our goal is to learn how to say hello or good morning in different languages. This is perfect, especially with Joan and Menard here today. And so today we're going to start by taking a moment to connect with ourselves and our heritage. Do you know a greeting in a different language? You can give me a thumbs up. Maybe just think this to yourself. I know we're not able to see you, but do you know a greeting in a different language? I know that I know a couple, and we'd love for you to just take time to share your greeting in the chat. And with all of our experiential activities, we never know exactly what's going to come up. We don't know what types of, greetings or background we have in the room. That's the idea behind the activity, is learning about each other. But I'd love if y'all would, oh, beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is warming my heart. Assalamualaikum. Bonjour. Kumustu. Bonjour. Ciao. Hi, Carrie. Buen dia. Ka Jambo. I can share. I taught English in Thailand, and we said sawadee ka in Thailand. And I just like to ask, as you're looking at these greetings, as you're sharing your greeting, do you recognize a greeting? Do you have any questions to others about their greeting? Do you have a story to share about your greeting? And this is really wonderful to see all of the different greetings that we know. And so if there's anyone that wants to add any questions for anyone, or anything you want to share about your greeting, yep. We love to include some greetings for students when we
Hi,
play this
Kendra.
Hi. When
I just
we
want to
play.
share.
Oh, go for it, Bernard.
Okay, so during our summer school program, I encouraged the third grade class to get creative with their greetings. So instead of saying good morning in English, they were invited to use any other language they knew. So some students greeted each other with waka. You know, waka is the Yupik word for hello in native Alaska.
Yes.
To say kumusta. So eventually we have two Filipino students. So they greeted their classmate kumusta. And then until such time, or eventually most of the student greeted kumusta, kumusta. So,
Wonderful. Yeah, so the way that the students play the greeting is student will say the greeting, and then they'll go around the circle and everyone will repeat the greeting after them. I know that, let's see, if you want to, um, yeah, I know Menard and Joan, you also had a really heartwarming experience with the greeting yourself in your classroom, where students were then greeting you. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, they're doing it every day. They say kumusta. Even outside the
the
school,
school,
yeah, when we go to the AC store, so when the students will see us, they will say kumusta.
because kumusta
Yeah,
is like hello in English term.
yeah, or how are you, like that.
Yeah.
And Menard, did you say you taught them some language in the Filipino language too?
Yes,
You
yes, like
hello. And you
that.
were sharing with
Mm-hmm.
me yesterday, I think, about like how that helped just build that connection
Yes.
with
Mm-hmm.
the students. Do you want to share that story?
Yeah, not only hello, but valuing multilingual greetings like that. So I felt that when somebody from other nation speak your language, it feels like, oh, it's good to hear somebody speaking our language like that.
Mhm.
Within schools in the United States, there are some schools that have students that speak over 60 different languages. I think that's one of the most wonderful things about this country. And so building in multilingual greetings, multilingual greeting is an activity that might be done early on. And then maybe that's something that ends up being built into the different other greetings. So a high five greeting or a tunnel greeting. Why building greeting activities that cultivate relationships, encourage mixing, and build social skills? And the answers are right in the questions as well. But by taking the time to help students practice the social skills of saying hello with screens, with all of the detractors that are happening right now, just having them practice making eye contact, saying hello, is a really important social skill in the first place. I've talked to a lot of folks who say, I just need my students to learn how to talk to each other, let alone, solve problems and work together, just communicate with each other. But as well as the mixing. So within classrooms, a lot of times students become really cliquey. So by building in time where you are encouraging them to meet with everyone in their class, practice these greetings, as well as this extra component of celebrating where people come from and how they greet each other. Greetings can be a really powerful activity. And along with that, connections are really the foundation of a positive learning community. So a lot of social emotional learning programs focus on self-regulation, helping our students learn how they feel, learn self-regulation and coping tools, practicing deep breathing, etc. Stop, think. Underneath, so one of the pieces that a lot of people forget is the co-regulation. So as schools are moving towards, personalized learning, computers, students on their own, is self-regulation, they're really missing one of the pieces that bonds students and really supports them in being able to self-regulate, which is co-regulation. Co-regulation is the idea that I can look at my teacher, I know they care about me, and I feel okay to take risks. I can look at the students around me, and I know that I can raise my hand, and they're not going to judge me. I have an authentic relationship with them, and so that's the value in bringing in these activities. And yeah, I think we talked about this. There's a picture as well. Yeah, so every day in Lower Yukon School District, they did different greetings. Here you can see high five greetings, tunnel greetings, snake greetings. And the last part of the morning meeting that we are going to get to experience today is the experiential social emotional learning activity, which is usually a challenge or a game. In the morning meeting period, Kikori provides you with a 10-minute prop-free activity that can be built in to that time. Okay, so the activity we're going to play today is called the Vision Shapes Activity. And all of these activities follow the experiential learning cycle. So with these activities, we always start with play, which is an experience where we get to just be our authentic selves. So for this activity, I am going to show you, oops, hold on. I am going to show you an image. And when we show you this image, you will have 10 seconds to memorize this image. Oh, actually, you've got a moment now if you can grab a pencil and a paper. I'm sorry, I should have told you that at the beginning. Take a moment and grab a pencil and a piece of paper. Okay, all right. So when we show you this image, you have 10 seconds. Pencils down, 10 seconds, memorize the image the best that you can. On your mark, get set, go. All right, now I want you to take the next couple minutes and please see how well you can reproduce the image that we just showed you. You want to throw me a thumbs up in the chat? Let me know you got it. That sounds great. I know finding the thumbs up, there's a little emoji button. Oops, I'm frozen. Sorry about that. Awesome. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Candria. Wonderful. Thanks. Okay. All right. So now we've got 10 seconds back on the clock. We're going to show you one more image. Pencils down. You are to look at this image, 10 seconds, memorize it, and then we'll do the same thing. So on your mark, get set, and see how well you can memorize this image. Perfect. And on the other side of your paper, can you please draw the image that you just saw? Okay, all right. So here is the big test. So actually, Nikki, I'm going to have you go back to slide 35. And my question in the chat is, how would you rate yourself on how you did? So here is the first image. How did you do? Please, in the chat, give yourself a rating from 0 to 10. How did you do on this picture? 8. Nice. Perfect. A 7. 7. A 5. Wonderful. Okay. A 6. Nice. Very honest, self-aware ratings. Perfect. And now we're going to go to slide 37. How would you rate yourself on this image? A 10, a 9. And Daphne improved from a 7 to an 8, a 10. Menard is cheering you on. A 10, a 9. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm seeing a trend, and I'm sure that you are as well. So my question is, you may have figured this out. Those were exactly the same shapes. So in the first image, the lines, the triangles, the circles were all exactly the same shapes as they were in the second image. But for some reason, the second image was much easier for us to remember and recreate. And so my question is, why? Why was it easier to remember the second image? It was familiar to us. The context, the background knowledge is important to learning and understanding. I was able to make a real world connection with the second image. We were ready for it. Great. So you were prepped. You had some practice. Were there any noticings that you had? So anything else that you noticed around the second image? You already knew it in comparison to the first image. What did you notice during this activity? It was much faster completing the second picture. Our brains are better wired to connect through a story or a complete picture. It was concrete. It wasn't abstract. So it was organized, right? In the second image, it took all of these different concepts, this stuff, and it organized them into a concrete picture that we know that connects to our experiences. Perfect. Wonderful. The next part of the experiential learning cycle is connect. So reflect. When we just reflected, we asked ourselves, what happened during this activity? Why was one of these more difficult? Why was one of these easier? Helping us to understand, like self-reflect. The second part of this activity is connecting. So what happened in this activity and how does it connect with the world around us? So within this activity, basically, there were the shapes that were organized into a framework. My question for you is, when are other times that a framework has helped you in organizing your thoughts and ideas? So thinking about your classroom, thinking about your school, are there any frameworks or ways that things are organized that really help you? Help you or your students in being able to organize their ideas? Story maps, daily routines, schedules, having the same routine. Love that. Yep. To-do list, calendars, lesson plans. Perfect. Help us organize. It was really interesting. I actually brought this activity to my husband, who's a fencing coach. And when he played this activity with me, he brought it immediately to his students, and he showed them when you just learn random moves, touche, etc. This is what you see. You just see like shapes all over. But when you understand a strategy, when you learn how to organize your moves into particular tactics, that's when you see this picture when you're on the strip. So right now we're talking about classrooms, but organizing, so taking, different ideas, different concepts and organizing them into a framework that makes sense for us. It can be applied in so many different places. Perfect. And last. So grow. So just from this very simple short activity, that we did in a webinar, what are some takeaways that you have just from this activity? Specifically, why are frameworks essential tools in helping us organize our thoughts and ideas? What's a way you can use frameworks with your staff to help build community? Is there anything you learned from this activity? Perfect. So having a structure is really helpful. So thinking through the structure of the new year, thinking of the structure of your day, providing a structure to practice in a fun and meaningful way really builds growth. With the image of the sun and the home, perfect. One of my mentor, who actually Phil knows, Lori Frank, she talks about using a framework, using imagery to actually show even like the community building practices in your school. So what are the foundations? of the home, those could represent the structure of our day. What is the sunshine? Maybe those are the celebrations that we build in. What is the rain, or the watering? That could be the different family events. So you could also use a framework in a way like this to represent the different pieces of your school. Many schools have as their mission to have critical thinkers. This experiential learning allows students to learn the process in order to think critically through play. This really prevents important aspects from being overlooked. Yep, feedback. So creating a framework around feedback could be really, really helpful. Perfect. Within Kikori, the framework that we use is this experiential learning cycle. So how does this experiential learning cycle support community building? This is our framework that we provide to educators that are used within these games. So again, play is an activity. Reflect is when students reflect on what happened during that activity to build self-awareness. Connect is when they help connect what happened in that activity to the world around them. And grows, what did you learn in this activity that you can apply? Some of the magic with this is, let's go back real quick. Some of the magic with this is that when they play these activities and they build in this intentional reflection within the activities, it can then be brought into academics as well. So a lot of times as students play and they reflect and they practice building those skills, they'll start applying this after they do, a writing practice, or after math. They'll start to say, why did that happen the way that it did? Why did I shut down? What can I do to, write another paragraph? What can I do to work through these things? And one of the most important things with this is that when this experiential social emotional learning approach cultivates community, and it also really supports the whole child by being hands-on, minds-on, and hearts-on. So the hands-on, let's see, the way in which it's hands-on is by playing, instead of, watching a video, instead of telling students what to do, by playing, students are actively engaged in the experiential SEL activities. Because it's a game, it's fun, and students are engaged. Because it's novel, their natural tendencies come out. So oftentimes I hear from teachers, when they see a game, they say, no, we can't do that in our classroom. I know a student and this is what's going to happen. And those are the people that I tell, this is exactly why you want to play this game. When the student is doing that every single day and you're telling them what they need to do and how they need to raise their hand and how they need to work together, the game provides an opportunity to empower the students to take self-awareness, practice self-awareness, and to learn for themselves what's happening. So instead of you telling the students, you need to take turns, they're going to be successful if they don't. And the reflection gives them an opportunity to learn for themselves, wait, why was I not successful? What was my part in this activity? And lastly, play is important because it's just happened. And so we have the opportunity to study something real. Again, a lot of times our social emotional learning programs are watching videos or students in computers by themselves, practicing social skills. Within a game, you can talk about this just happened. So they're able to study real behaviors, real interactions within the classroom instead of, watching someone else do it. The way this is minds on. So the majority of our education is cognitive, but when we include experiential learning, we're able to hit many different parts of the brain. So through this process, the reflect, connect, grow, we're able to impact all different areas of the brain. And so within each one, in the next screen, you'll see through play, the sensory cortex receives information through all of our different senses. So again, we're not just watching, we're not just hearing, we are sensing, we're feeling. Our kinesthetic being is involved in this activity. Through reflecting, the back integrative cortex creates meaning. This builds self-awareness and social awareness. by connecting, by building those abstract conceptualizations of how what happened connects with the world around us. That helps us think and plan and build critical thinking skills. Let's see, can you guys still hear me? Okay, perfect. And by practicing growing, that's the motor cortex, which facilitates action. And so this is practicing self-management, practicing relationship building skills, practicing goal setting. All of these happen by building in the grow. The other really cool part of the brain is that the activity that we did at the beginning with an ice cream check-in, we connected our feelings with ice cream. That was a metaphor. And metaphors occur in the left inferior gyrus, the part of the brain. So if you ask somebody today what ice cream flavor they feel like, watch their eyes. They will look up and to the left. That's where they're connecting two different parts. Through these team building activities, they're actually kinesthetic metaphors. So it takes this metaphor idea and hyper makes it maximizes it. So students have a whole body experience of sharing, of collaborating, of being heard, being valued, of working through hard things. And lastly, these team building activities are hearts on. So within the world of mental health, cognitive behavioral therapy, we learn there are 3 key areas that can help our students and really help them change. So that's A, B, C. We can help them change their behavior so they can do something differently. We also focus on their thoughts. So they can think something differently. They can learn what negative thoughts they have and change those to positive thoughts or challenge those thoughts. When we build in trauma-informed practices, that's when we build in the understanding of sensory motor physical reactions. So with this, we help students understand fight or flight, build self-awareness around their heart beating fast, their breath quickening, feeling butterflies, their thoughts racing. But at the heart of all of this is really, in my opinion, the great moderator, which are relationships. So I want you to think of the last time you were by yourself. And so this has happened to me when I've gone to conferences by myself. I'm able to have awareness around the difference it makes of just having one buddy with me. And what helps me be my best self. And so, think as well, is there somebody that you share your feelings with? How does that help you? How does that support you? And so creating spaces where students play games, share their feelings, are able to be vulnerable, identify areas they can work on, set goals, work through challenges, struggle together, fail together, reflect on how failure is a part of learning. All of those things can help them build authentic relationships that really helps them in every other aspect of class when they have to get out of their comfort zone in order to learn. So and I think the core of all of this is really helping our students feel a sense of belonging. So through these activities, we help our students feel seen and heard from the moment they get into class, the moment they have an opportunity to share something about themselves, feel included and feel appreciated. And there's heaps of brain science around the impact of helping our students feel a sense of belonging. Which also helps all of these other areas that I know are critical to our learning institutions. When students feel like they belong, they improve in academics. They want to come to school. There are less behavioral referrals. You're able to spend more time getting down to business, as Lisa said. Students are more engaged, which is one of the key issues that's happening, in schools across the country is they're not engaged. There are all of these distractions that are fighting for their attention. And so, oops. So this one, I'm sorry. Yep. So this question, perfect. Nope, you can head on to the next one. So this question should be, what was your experience in leading team building activities? And there are quite a few pictures here. Just what was your experience in building this experiential social emotional learning approach into your classrooms? And what did you see, Lisa, throughout the school district by building these practices in?
I think the thing that we were really looking for was a structure that would help us find ways to build connections with our students, and build that belonging, like you were talking about. And having this interwoven throughout the day, starting from the morning meeting to the energizers or the calmers, which I don't even think we got to even talk about much today. But then at the end of the day, that closing, we were able to hit it multiple times a day, and it gave the kids that brain break that they needed, to be able to be more open to the academic side of it. But we know our students want to have that relationship and build those connections. And all of these activities kind of interwoven throughout the day is what really helped build that community in the classroom and students wanting to come to school. And so we were really pleased with what took place over summer school. We've only participated with Kikori for those 4 weeks that we did summer school, but we are implementing full on this year. And so we are really looking forward to that. Yeah. Which Minard and Joan are excited about. Yeah.
So the results of our 4-week summer school program. So I think, yeah, just imagine, if this was possible in 4 weeks, what could happen if you build these practices in throughout a year? The attendance increased by 50% from the previous summer. Educators improved their confidence in leading SEL activities. They said it was easy to lead these activities. They saw student improvements in engagement. Sorry, this is in engagement, cooperation, empathy, as well as a sense of community. In their K-8 students, they improved in their social emotional learning skills. It was 18 out of 20 improved in those 4 weeks. And I think what was most important for our summer school students is they became more confident and hopeful by the end of the summer school. That's our goal with these students. How can we help them believe in themselves? And students and educators said it was the best summer school ever. So these are some of those statistics. You can see here the results from K2. Almost across the board, they improved in their SEL skills. I think the really exciting ones are, you see the fourth, they improved in knowing what they're good at, knowing their strengths. On the next, the results from 3-5, you can see at the end here, they improved in confidence and hopefulness. Really across the board, they became more calm, more excited, more happy. Again, these are their SEL improvements in those 4 weeks. And from middle school, you can see here a huge jump in confidence, hopefulness, became more excited for middle school students. And here again, the first bar is identifying their strengths, respecting classmates, identifying what creates stress for them. And then we also had students actually rate their summer school. So you'll see here, K2, fun. Why did they rate summer schools? A 9.4? It was fun. 8.8, it was fun. And even for our middle school students, they said the reason they rated it 7.8, that's good for middle school, is that it was fun. And so, yeah, so with just a couple minutes left, I'm actually going to jump down. I want to show. So we do have a community building gift that we're going to share with all of you in the follow-up. So we have an SEL starter pack that has activities for morning meeting. This is what Lisa also mentioned, energizers, cafeteria activities, recess activities, calming brain breaks, outdoor activities, classroom celebrations, closing circle. And as we end, Lisa also mentioned, the value of this closing circle. So before we leave today, if you want to go to the next, one of the closing activities in Pilot Station was a giving and receiving activity. Love just if you want to take a moment to share in the chat. Anything that you are, anything you're taking away from today, and anything that, taking away and bringing to your school next year. So if you want to share, it's a little closing, and then I know Nikki will close us out as well.
Yeah, while you're writing your feedback in the chat, just a reminder that so this gift and follow-up resources and the recording and everything will be sent out later this week to your email. So be on the lookout for that.
Can I just jump in real quick, Kendra, and
Yes,
offer
please.
one more thing is that I think the ease of being able to use Kikori was one of the best benefits for our teachers because we really wanted something that, of course, is going to build relationships and connections, but in a way that is not hard or difficult for teachers to implement. And everything, like you saw that she had it all right there on your app or on your computer, the computer side of it is just for the teacher. And so everything is laid out for you so well that it is easy to just jump right into the classroom and be able to present. You don't need to go and gather a lot of different materials. Everything is right there for you. And so it is, I just found that that was a big key factor in making it successful because it cut down that prep time. And I know as teachers, time is our biggest challenge that we face in trying to get everything in during the day. But please take a look. Like I did not know anything about Kikori prior to March. I found it randomly and I'm so excited that I did. And we're really excited about this upcoming school year. Our teachers have really embraced it that participated in summer school. You can see Menard and Joan are shaking their head. And we are just really thankful that we found it, Kendra, and hope that other people will take a look too. Use those free activities that she's sharing in the gift today. I think you will find it to be helpful in your classroom.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Lisa, Menard, Joan, and of course, Kendra, and everyone that attended today. We hope you have an amazing back to school. Enjoy all your final last summer moments. And thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.